Afternoon, guys. It's just me today. Thought that I'd do something the morning after, the afternoon after, the day after, and I weren't sure when to do it. So I thought, you know what? It's nearly half time of the 12:30 kickoff. Let's just do it now. I was there last night, and I, like a lot of Arsenal fans, was quietly confident. I can't sit there and tell you that I was arrogant enough or not naive enough to know that it was going to be tight, really tight at times and really tough. But it looks to me as if this could be done. Um, if you had to put a gun to my head and say who's going to win the title, it would be Man City. And I do think that we have to take it on the chin and have to stop being so sensitive when people suggest that perhaps we might have bottled this league. You can call it whatever you want to. If you want crumbled, bottled, um, we're done and dusted, we've choked. Uh, it's facts. I don't really know why people get so stressed about this. Perhaps it's because that's what Tottenham are known as, bottle jobs, bottlers, and people don't want to associate us with Spurs. But this, at the moment, ending similarly to how Leicester ended it with Tottenham, similarly to how Arteta's being compared to a Poch, not a Pep or a Klopp. Maybe that's got under people's skin. Maybe that's why people hate it. Whether you believe those debates to be true, let's just deep it. We messed up. We messed up. And perhaps people were looking too forward to Wednesday. I did say that last night would not be a good Wednesday for us if we don't take 3 points. And we weren't able to. And I think personally, you can take positives from any game we've played this season in parts of the game. And yet again, we can see the fight that people had shown, right? I get that. Towards the end, the players showed fight. We could have won it. We had opportunities. We had scrambles in the box. We put pressure on them, but it weren't to be. What this result means, I don't think we do 100% know yet, but I think we 100% could have a good guess at what it means. Arsenal have chucked the title away last season, in my opinion. A lot of people say there's still a long way to go. You've got 7, 8 games that City have got to play. We've got 6 games. Win our 6 games, we win the league. Facts. Absolutely facts. Playing like that, we ain't going to beat City. We ain't going to beat Newcastle and we ain't going to beat Brighton. So we need to really bounce back here now. I'm not talking about, get yourself together, dust yourself down. This is a look in the mirror job. Every single one of those players and say, do I want this? Do I want this title right now? If I do, then go and show it. If you don't, stay at home because this is for men, not boys. And we have seen these boys turn into men this season on many occasions. And we need them more than ever on Wednesday night to pull together. This is going to be a real long road now because this could be a horrendous end to the season. It could be an exciting end. It could be a nervy one. I want it to be exciting and nervy right to the end. I don't want to get to Wednesday night, blow it, get beaten, and then get told season's done. And we got nothing to show for it. So before we go into the game and before what this result means, let's talk a little bit about what this season could be if people are now starting to say that we've been written off and it's done. Let's deep it and be serious for a minute because a lot of people will say there's been a lot of positives this season, but unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of negatives that come with it if we don't win this title. Let me tell you where I'm at, and I said this on my fan cam last night. You can sit there and say we've bottled the league and that we've choked, we've had a shocking season. I'd agree with parts of that, but I'd also disagree with parts of those statements as well. Because yeah, we've bottled the league. We were 8 points clear. You can't be 8 points clear and then lose it and not be told that you bottled it. It's facts. Get over it. Stop being sensitive. We've bottled a lot in our life, yeah. So have Manchester United, so have Manchester City, so have Liverpool, so have Chelsea, and every single other club beneath them. They've all bottled something in their time. But what I don't agree with is that we've had a shocking season or that it's been an absolutely horrendous one because there's a lot we've learned this season. There's a lot of development. There's a lot of growth within the side. We're only going to get better. There's a bright future. We're going to add to it in the squad. There are concerns that we can't quite get over the line under this manager at times. And since the FA Cup win, we've literally thrown every single competition away. We've tried to get top four and we've failed it. We've tried to win a Europa League and we've failed it. We've tried to win a domestic cup, we've failed it. We've tried to go for a title and we could now fail it. So we need to learn from this and get better. So there will be some positives to take. We've had some unbelievable moments within the season. We've managed to put in a title challenge, which is something I never ever thought we would do under this manager. Certainly not at the last 3 seasons of what he's evidenced so far. But there are some negatives because we've got nothing to show for it. You don't lift a trophy at the end of the season to say, look how much progress we've managed to put on the table. You don't lift a trophy by saying we've overachieved. You don't lift a trophy by saying, look at the progress from 8th, 8th, and 5th to 2nd. You don't do any of those things. So those that can lift a trophy, whether it be Manchester City or Manchester United domestically from this league, whether it be European teams that are going to win Champions Leagues and Europa Leagues, they will all lift something and say they've achieved something this season more than what Arsenal have. So that's why it's so vital that we win the league this season. And also this season, actually, we deserve to win something. This team deserves to win something. I'm not so sure that the Manchester United side deserves to win a League Cup or deserves to be able to lift something that Arsenal have not been able to do. But that could actually be the case. They could lift something that we can't. And you look at their team, you look at our team, they're still miles away. We're not miles away. Manchester City are actually not perfect this season, which is why I think we've been able to be even in the running to have a chance of lifting a title. Manchester City have drew games against the likes of Nottingham Forest, the likes of Everton. They've drew to Newcastle. They've lost to Manchester United. They've lost to Liverpool. Arsenal have lost to some of those clubs in similar fashion, or we've dropped points against some of those clubs. But when we deep it and we look back to where Arsenal potentially lost this title, I think last night will definitely be one. I also think West Ham, Southampton away, remember? That's another draw. We haven't been able to beat Southampton this year. Also, the game at Goodison Park against Everton and the home game against Newcastle, where, let's be honest, we had chances but couldn't kill the game off. They're the ones that we look at. Brentford at home, people will look at that as well. And in fact, although we didn't deserve to win the game, we should have, but Lee Mason ended up getting sacked because he couldn't do his job. So those are the moments that we look at. I won't look at the Manchester City game at the Emirates as one where we threw it away. I won't look at Old Trafford as one where we threw it away. I won't look at Liverpool at Anfield and think that we threw it away there. But I will look at the other points that we've dropped and think, yeah, you can't do that if you're going for a title. You can't give away goals for me like we did last night. So that's where we're going to next. Let's look at what happened last night. Taking Liverpool and West Ham into consideration, what you need to do is bounce back. And there's ways you can bounce back from games. You can do what you did against West Ham in the first half. You can do what you did against Liverpool in the first half. Or you can go completely the other way and try to take 3 points. Whatever happens, you want to take 3 points in this game last night. That's what we needed. If we wanted to go and win this title, we needed 3 points. And then you look forward to what you can do on the Wednesday night. So all week since the West Ham game and the disappointment of being 2 goals up against both Liverpool and West Ham and not killing the games off, we've been told by players and by managers and by the media that Arsenal were going to bounce back. Arsenal were going to show fight. Arsenal were going to show everybody why they mean business and why they're the team to win this title. So I was expecting a real response, a comfortable victory, a 3 or 4-0. But actually, when I was asking for my predictions, I actually went for a 3-1 Arsenal. I had a feeling we were going to score 3 goals. I didn't expect to concede 3 goals. We do not keep clean sheets at the Emirates. The last clean sheet we had at the Emirates was against Newcastle in January. There is only Leeds and Southampton that have a worse home record in terms of conceding goals than Arsenal. So we are in a title race, and our home record is the 3rd worst in the league for conceding goals. A damning fact. Now, I don't know why that is. People have asked me so many times, Dan, why do we concede so many goals at home, but we don't away? I think we look a lot more composed, certainly up until the Liverpool-West Ham game away from home. We look in control. And at home, sometimes we look a little bit excitable, a little bit rash, a little bit rabbit in headlights. And I think that sometimes when we go gung-ho, that leaves us exposed at the back because we're looking to get that extra goal. So the games we've won this season, convincingly, have never been 5-0, 4-0, 3-0. It's always been 4-1, 4-2, 5-2. There was one that we've had last night at 3-3. We've also had other games where we've conceded 2 or 3 goals. So at home, it's been really, really frustrating at times. Defensively, a worry. And big up Mohamed, because I did hear this last night from Thierry Henry. Thierry Henry is right. This team is too emotional. And I think at home, they're very emotional. Away from home, we've seen in the last 2 games that perhaps you can say they have been, but most of this season, they've been really controlled and composed. And the performances for me, where it's been complete and out of control, were probably the ones against Fulham away, Palace away, Bournemouth away. What else is there? Brentford away, Brighton as well. No one give us any credit for that game. And although at the end it looked a little bit like it was going to be a frustrating one, we still got over the line and we ended up winning the game comfortably. So for me, there has been many, many emotional games this season, and Thierry Henry is absolutely right. What I will say is that when you're told you're going to bounce back, there needs to be 100% focus and 100% concentration. Now, 20 seconds into a game, that's answered straight away. Arsenal are not ready. They're not concentrated. They're not focused. Aaron Ramsdale has 3 options. He can go left, he can go right, or he can try and go up top long. And he tries to pass through 2 Southampton players to hit Zinchenko. Gary Neville summed it up correctly. David De Gea and Maguire against Seville. Yes, it looked similar, but it actually got to Maguire before it went wrong. This one, it didn't even get to him. So we go 1-0 down, and everybody thinks it's early. It's Southampton with a better side. We'll be okay. We have a lot of control and possession of the football. There won't be any issues. Now, when you've got control and possession of the football, there's only really one way that team can get the ball back. They either fight and try and win it back, or they let you play and try and capitalize on your mistakes. And that's exactly what Southampton did. They only really had chances in the game through our downfall, through poor marking, through lapse of concentration, through giving the ball away, or by just having the lack of defensive nous as a collective to keep tight at the back. And all of those things happened. Errors. Ramsdale gives the ball away. Second goal. Party to Ødegaard. Ødegaard thinks he sees a pass that was never ever on. Gives the ball away. They are on the break. Zinchenko's having a cup of tea in midfield like he normally is, playing left inverted role. And Theo Walcott says, I'm going to get in behind you, mate, because you're always up top and I'm going to go and score. Because for the last 10 years, I've slotted them home in they send for a long, 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 long time. And that's what he does. We're 2-0 down. Holding and Gabriel all over the place, defensively at the back. I thought Ben White was poor. I thought Zinchenko was poor. And certainly Holding and Gabriel as a back four were terrible. Now, Ben White picked it up in the second half, but the other 3 were questionable for a lot of that game and looked quite shaky whenever the ball was coming over the top. Then we get back into the game for a great bit of play from Ødegaard over to Saka and Martinelli. And I have to pick up these 2 players. In the last 10 minutes, there were 4 or 5 Arsenal players that showed fight and were absolutely controlling the game, Ødegaard being one of them. But Saka and Martinelli throughout most of that game, until Martinelli came off, were superb. They gave 110%. They gave fight. They were threatening. They looked like they were going to let something happen or make something happen at least. And I felt that it was more John Jesus and Ødegaard that I was having question marks, and Thomas Partey, to be fair. So I feel that there's an opportunity for us to look at the team selection before we go any further. Because you can talk about the errors, you can talk about the games, and then we're going to go into how Arsenal got themselves back into it in a minute. But when Granit Xhaka gets told that he's ill and everyone's aware that he's not going to play, I think he has a few options, Mikel Arteta. He has 3 or 4 options for me. He can continue playing Kieran Tierney at left back and put Zinchenko in the middle, which, let's be honest, is where he plays anyway. He's in that position most of the game. He can play Smith Rowe as an attacking 8. He can play Trossard as an attacking 8. Or he can play Jorginho as a holding midfielder and push Thomas Partey forward and allow Ødegaard to still remain in his position. They're the options that he can do. Or he can play Fabio Vieira, a player that, in my opinion, has not shown enough this season to know whether he's going to be good enough for this league, good enough for this football club, good enough for the Premier League. He looks very lightweight. He's always on the floor. He doesn't seem to be able to have any form of control with the ball at times. He doesn't look comfortable on the ball at times. And then there's the glimmer of positives with him, that he's still early, he's still young, it's his first season. He has some really nice touches. He can get the right ball on the plate for people once in every 5 games. But I just don't think that for 35 million, this guy has been worth the money. I actually put him in the bracket as a poor signing like Ronison, Cedric, Pablo Mari, Nuno Tavares, Lokonga, Willian. He's up there with them for me. At the moment, things could change. He's had some good moments. He scored a good goal against Brentford, but that's really the only game that he had. He put in a good pass to Martinelli at the Aston Villa game, but really, it was a good ball. But I'm not going to sit there and get too gassed by it. Likewise, at Wolves away, he crosses the ball to Ødegaard. We win the game. I'm not going to get too gassed about it. So let's look at what happened after that. Vieira comes off. Trossard comes on. We look a lot better all of a sudden. Trossard, I didn't think was amazing, if I'm honest with you, but was better than Vieira in my opinion. Eddie comes on. Nelson comes on. And out of all of our subs that we brought on, I'm going to big up Reece Nelson again. And it looked like he could have had another couple of potential moments, didn't it? Like he did against Bournemouth. And I thought it was going to happen at one stage for somebody. But we get ourselves back into the game through the Martinelli, and then we lose our heads yet again. I'm going to big up a member of coaching staff now in Nicholas Jova. Last season from set pieces, I think we conceded 2 throughout the whole season from set pieces. We scored many goals from set pieces this season, and we've continued to do so. But what's happened in the last third of this season is it's dried up. We can't seem to score from set pieces, and we can't seem to defend from them anymore. And this was a perfect example of that. Any single cross that came in, defensively, we looked to shambles. Whether it was a corner, whether it was a cross, whether it was a free kick, we didn't look comfortable. From goalkeeper to back 5. Thomas Partey, I thought, had a couple of moments of complete madness in this game. Yet again, similarly to how he played in West Ham, I thought he was poor. I can't lie to you. So there was definitely some problems. Now, this was a guy come on I've never even heard of. Kaleta Carr. Who's that? Nobody knows who he is. But he ended up scoring to make it 3-1. And the whole of the Emirates was killed. It had died. It was silent. And it's the first time I've ever looked around and thought, not only is this the first time this place has been silent in 2 years, by the way, everybody's realised that we've just thrown the title away. So I was really surprised that Arsenal got anything out of this game from that moment because the crowd was dead. The crowd was done. And we've spoken the last weeks about how crowds can be lifted and goals normally do that. And basically, that's what we did. West Ham and Liverpool were lifted by a 2-1. We seem to be lifted by 3-2. Now, in the 87th minute when Ødegaard scored, I don't really remember many people around me going too mental. It was a clap, it was a stand, it was a come on. It was never going mental because I think everybody believed that the game had still been lost. But when it was so much one-way traffic and there's so much crowd on your side, we can see what can happen. And the fight was there to win the game. Now, we already had opportunities previously to go and put it home. In the first half, I really felt that at 2-1, we might have had to get it to 2-2 to win the game. And it turns out that probably was correct. If you remember, Ben White has a header that's cleared off the line from a corner in the first half. If that goes in, it could be a completely different story. So we have a couple of opportunities. And there's one that I really liked and there's one that I really hated. The one I really liked was Trossard's attempt because I'm all for people shooting outside the box. It's there for him. He's had a dig and it's hit the crossbar. But unfortunately, I can't say the same about Thomas Partey's one. He's about 45 yards out. There's 3 options for him to pass the ball. There's a lot of players in and around the box and inside the box. And Ødegaard in that last 10 minutes was the player of the match. For me, everything that happened went through this guy. He's on with a nice little pass to the right. And Thomas Partey has decided that he believes now that because he scored 2 goals, one against Spurs and one against Forest, that he can do it any time. Why in the 90-plus minute are you smashing it like that? Miles over the bar. You can see in his face he knew it's the wrong thing to do. Mikel Arteta looked fuming. Ødegaard, Jesus, Trossard, they're all looking at him, flinging their arms up in the air. What are you doing, son? Shocking. He actually played pretty poor in parts of the game, Thomas Partey, and I'm a massive, massive fan of him. And then what happens is it's all around the box, and we finally get the third. And at 3-3, the board goes up, and there's 8 minutes left. And I really thought that there was potential with any team to do it. It would be us. That a Bournemouth moment, only a few weeks ago, it seems now, could be on the cards yet again. Unfortunately, it weren't meant to be. We had a chance at the end, which Ben White then flicked across, and then Jesus' fling being theatrical, trying to win a penalty. Good defending from Southampton, a team who I think will be very, very disappointed to walk away with only a point. I thought they showed fight. I thought they showed character. I thought they were first at every ball. I thought they made it hard for us. I thought they were tight. I thought they took their chances. And everyone was looking at their goalkeeper and moaning, and they're 3-1 up, man. He's gonna take as much time as he wants. And let me ask you, and this goes for every single team and every other game and every other opponent that ever does this. If there's a goalkeeper that's time wasting, don't shout at the goalkeeper, shout at the referee. Because if the referee gives him a yellow card on the 50th or 60th minute when they're time wasting, he can't do it again. And the rest of the game is being played. But because the poor refereeing in this officiating in this country allows for them to just talk to them and tell them to hurry up, it gets to the 89th minute before they ever get the yellow card out, and it's pointless. The goalkeeper was time wasting. They're going to get over it, Gooners. That's what happens. So at 3-3, big up Bukayo Saka, yet again on the score sheet. Him and Martinelli, yet again, superb. I think there's only one team that could go on to win this, and it is not Southampton, it's Arsenal. But we won't be able to get over the line. And we weren't able to do it. And we walk away disappointed and devastated. So what does this mean? Well, it means on Wednesday night we have to go and win. And the way that we're playing at the moment as a collect, I'm not so sure that we have the form going into this that we need to take 3 points. We might take a point. With a little bit of luck, we might win it. But even if we win this game, we've then got to go and win the 5 after it. And we've got Newcastle, Chelsea, Brighton, Forest, and Wolves. Now, you might look at those games and think that some are winnable, some are losable. Yeah, I get it. But we have to win all 5. Yeah, if we beat City. We can't draw at St. James's. We can't lose. We can't draw at Brighton at home. We can't lose. We can't draw against Chelsea at home. We can't lose. We've got to win them all. And that might just be a little too much of an ask in the way that we're playing. So as we wrap up, Saliba's a miss. And he's more than just a little bit of a miss for me. When people say Saliba's a miss, everybody gets on the back of people because they think you're being out of order to Rob Holding. Let me tell you this. Rob Holding individually has not been a huge issue since he's come into this side. But defensively as a unit, we have been a problem. Because Ben White's performances have dropped next to Holding. Gabriel's performances have dropped next to Holding. Thomas Partey's performances have dropped alongside Rob Holding playing behind him. Zinchenko, it looks as if he can't have as much freedom as perhaps Arteta would like with Rob Holding in the side. It's just facts. It's just a drop-off. He's been here for 6-7 years and he's just not ever been a starter. It's nothing against the guy. It's just proof that he isn't quite ready. So if we lose this title, it will be down to lack of squad depth yet again, like it was when we missed out on top 4, like it was when we missed out on the Europa, when we missed out on top 6, when we missed out on the domestic cups. Because all of those things point to our first 11 did not play. Through injury, through decisions, through rotation, we've gone out of all competitions because the squad just isn't strong enough. So this is why the summer's massively important. We can throw names. Yesterday at the AFTV studio, they were talking with me about Mason Mount, Declan Rice, and Caicedo. I don't care, really. We've got a title to win first. Now that we threw it away, I think it's even more important to talk about what we do in the summer. Now, it's fine having Rob Holding as a squad player, Eddie Nketiah, El Neni, Reece Nelson. We need those as our third choices. We need something better to come in. We need something better than Jorginho when Partey gets injured. Declan Rice, for example. We need something better when Granit Xhaka is injured than Fabio Vieira, Tielemans, or perhaps Caicedo or Bellingham if we're really ambitious and have the money. We need something better when Jesus is out. Perhaps somebody like a Tammy Abraham or Rasmus Højlund, who we're linked with. We need something better than Reece Nelson, who, big up, by the way, has done well. But we need something a little bit more than him. Perhaps a Moussa Diaby. We need something better than Fabio Vieira, perhaps a James Maddison. Now, we're not going to get all them players in one window. We have to be realistic about that. We haven't got 400 million to spend. I don't think we have anyway. But we can get some of those options. So let's see what we do in the summer. It's not all over. It's not all doom and gloom, but I can't help feeling a little deflated. Let's bring in this super chat by Richard. Bring up, Rich. Hope you're well, bruv. Says, absolutely gutted, Dan. We're not winning at City, Newcastle, or Brighton playing like this anyway. This is facts, right? If someone said to me, do you think you'll win at Newcastle, Brighton, or City? I'll say, listen, I'll get behind the boys and feel that we can. If they change that question round to this question and said, playing like that, how many points can we get? I would say 0 out of all 3 of those games. Because Brighton are no muppets. We haven't beaten them at the Emirates for God knows how long. Newcastle away. We all saw what happened there last season. And City are no muppets. They are one of the best sides I've ever seen. right? If they win this treble, which I think they could do now, particularly if we throw this league away, I think they're going to win the FA Cup. And then my favourites now to win the Champions League, although I believe that Real Madrid, although they were my tip at the start, know how to do it. I think Man City are just too good. They will be known as probably the greatest ever season. It's be better than the treble winners of 99 because Manchester United were not convincing like Man City could potentially be. It'll be better than the Centurions for me because they've got 3 trophies to show for it. It'll be better than the Invincible season because they've got 3 trophies to show for it. And it will be better than any of Mourinho's Chelsea's or Ancelotti's Chelsea's or Klopp's Liverpool's for me. Just my opinion. That will be the best. If they win these 3, wow, trust me. It's going to be really difficult, really, really difficult now. And I really can't see how we win this title because I don't think that we have the ability to get through it. Lack of focus, lack of concentration, perhaps a little bit of naivety. Perhaps the side aren't quite ready, a little bit young, not quite enough squad depth, and we don't have the manager who has the know-how. What do Man City have? They have the squad depth. They have the know-how. They have the experienced manager. They have a winning mentality and a winner of a manager. And they've just bought one of the craziest centre forwards I've ever seen in my life, who's so scary that could break records beyond belief. If we lose to that, sometimes you have to hold your hands up and say, wow, they deserve it. But yes, we will be bottlers if we lose this. I do not mind saying that because I'm a realist, I'm a football fan, and every single other team has bottled something in their lifetime. Arsenal have bottled it before. Spurs are bottle jobs. West Ham, do me a favour. Chelsea, Liverpool, City, United, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, I can go on. They've all bottled something in their lifetime. Shogun, big up yourself. Thanks for the super chat, bro. It says it's almost impossible, but to get a result at the Etihad, we must change. I think the only way we can do that is if we go free at the back and counter them. I don't think that Arsenal right now are the side that Arteta took over under Emery in terms of personnel or belief or mentality to believe that they can go free at the back and get them on the counter. I like what you're saying. Maybe we do have to change something. Maybe we do have to look at personnel. But I think that 4-3-3 will remain against Manchester City and we'll go head to head with them. People might think that's stupid. People might think that's foolish. Maybe we're not going to win that way. Mikel Arteta, it's down to you. Players, it's down to you. I honestly believe that we can get to a stage where winning that game will bring some belief back. But even that is still a long way to go. Beating Brighton at home ain't easy. Beating Newcastle away ain't easy. Forest and Wolves could be fighting for something towards the end of the games that we play. And Chelsea, I mean, they're fighting for pride. And what better way to do it than to win at the Emirates? This is going to be very, very difficult now, guys. And it's not all doom and gloom. It's not all over, but it's looking tougher than ever. Lastly, Manchester City. They have got West Ham, who have picked up a bit of form, but in my opinion, at the Etihad, they'll win that game. Fulham away. Not really the best of sides, but I believe they'll have a good, strong end to the season. Will they be able to pick something up at Man City? We all hope. Brighton away. Their toughest fixture for me. Toughest fixture. The one that if you put money on it, I wouldn't say one at Man City 100% win that game, but I would fancy them as favourites. Brentford away. They could be in the sun. They could be fighting for something. Very, very difficult place to go. Everton away. Fighting for their lives. Took 3 points off of Arsenal under Sean Dyche. Need something. Will do anything they can to pick up a point, and they'll play horribly. But I think if I'm being truthful with myself, Manchester City have very winnable home games, and it's only the away games for me that they could drop points. Let's see what happens, man. Big up everybody in the chat, man. Thank you so, so much. Please smash a like. You might be able to cheer me up a little bit if you do so. And make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're going to be back probably on Monday night. I'm going to be with Lee. I'm going to be with Henry. I'm going to be with Goonie. I'm going to be with Kaz. And we're going to be talking about what has been a ridiculously mental midweek of football and weekend of football, I imagine. And then we'll be back on Tuesday for the Race for Europe show, where I'm sure everybody's going to roast me, or at least try their best to. And then we'll be back on Wednesday for the Premier League fan debate as usual. Make sure if you're new to the channel, you join this journey. We're up to just over 8,000 subscribers, people. And to do that in 9 months is very humbling. So thank you all so much for joining me in that time. It's been fantastic. We're going to see you next time. I'm going to see you out with some faith and belief and some winning mentality, which we all want from this squad. Let's make sure that this team can turn what has been this season unbelievable in parts into the dream. Everything matters on Wednesday night. It's the next game, which means, of course, it's important, but it's the big one. Keep the faith, have the belief, and come on, you Gunners. Take it easy, people. We're out of here.